What's up guys, today's video is on the top 5 best SSD for PS5 in 2023. Through extensive research and testing, I've put together a list of options that'll meet the needs of different types of buyers. So whether it's price, performance, or its particular use, we've got you covered. For more information on the products, I've included links in the description box down below, which are updated for the best prices. Like the video, comment and don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get started. Number 5 Kingston Fury Renegade. The Kingston Fury Renegade SSD is one of the fastest and most consistent Gen 4 drives I've ever tested. This newer variant, complete with a PS5 compliant heatsink, soars above the competition in every aspect. The Renegade offers excellent sequential performance at a great price. The Kingston Fury Renegade SSD is an incredibly well-built NVMe drive, which is evident in the thick, rugged heatsink the model comes wrapped in. It is easily one of the best heatsinks I've seen on a Gen 4.0 drive, and right up there with the excellent Corsair MP600 Pro LPX and WD Black SN850 as far as build quality goes. As much as I love the low-profile graphene heat spreader of the original, the dedicated console-first heatsink here blows it out of the water. The Kingston Fury Renegade SSD excels inside the PS5 console. I found that Sony's official reads benchmark clocked a 6,500 MB per second read speed, which is the fastest I've seen from a Gen 4.0 drive in the system. Number 4 Corsair MP600 Pro LPX. The Corsair MP600 Pro LPX is the drive to get if you want supreme performance for just about any storage needs. It's at or near the front of the pack in all our testing, and the speed doesn't come at an absurd markup or sacrifice to drive endurance. The combination of fast sequential and random performance make the drive well suited for huge file transfers and general operation as a boot drive. Corsair actually sells this drive in a few different flavors. The underlying MP600 Pro drive may be mostly the same, but there are a handful of cooling options. The MP600 Pro LPX has a low-profile heatsink designed to fit the PS5. The standard model has a slightly taller heatsink while the MP600 Pro XT is even beefier. There are even two options with water blocks. Some of these models are even available for even a little bit less than the LPX, letting you gain even more value if you don't need to squeeze into a PS5 or confined M.2 slot in your PC. While it'll be unfortunate to have to hide away the somewhat stylish, black SSD, Corsair has made a convenient package that delivers supreme speeds with a cooler that's all ready to go into a PS5. Number 3 Samsung 980 Pro with heatsink. The Samsung 980 Pro is the first Samsung SSD to take advantage of PCIe 4.0, a technology that made its debut in the mainstream with AMD Ryzen 3000 processors and the X570 chipset. It allows for much greater bandwidth, and in turn, much faster SSD speeds than even the best SSDs could offer before. It's no surprise, then, that the Samsung 980 Pro is the fastest SSD we've ever tested. As with any other major SSD launch, the Samsung 980 Pro comes in 3 storage capacities, 250GB for $89, 500GB for $149, and 1TB for $229. Those prices seem expensive at first glance, especially if you've been paying attention to the rapid fall in SSD prices over the last few months. However, compared with competing drives like the $199 1TB GB Aorus Gen 4 SSD or the $229 Sabrent Rocket at the same capacity, the price falls in line beautifully. There will also be a 2TB model launching sometime in 2020, but we don't know how much that will cost at this time. This is especially true when you consider that by waiting this long to introduce a Gen 4 SSD, Samsung was able to premiere it both with its latest VNAND technology and the newest LPS controller, which means there is nothing holding this drive back. Number 2 Seagate FireCuda 530 with heatsink. The Seagate FireCuda 530 is an incredibly fast and now thankfully more affordable SSD for PS5 that can keep up with newer models on the market. It may be lacking in raw numbers, but performance matters most, making this Gen 4.0 NVMe drive well worth considering for your console. As expected from a high-performance Gen 4.0 model, the Seagate FireCuda 530 utilizes the exceptional FireCuda E18 controller, and that's how it can push up to 7,000 MB per second read and write. It was impressive in 2020, and even 3 years later is still as solid as ever. There's also 176-layer Micron TLC flash memory which few newer drives, such as the Kingston Fury Renegade, also used over 2 years later. We're very much talking about the cap of what's possible with this current generation of NVMe models, so to hit it out of the park so early on is commendable. Gaming on the PS5 with the Seagate FireCuda 530 is as quick and painless as you would expect, given what's on the silicon here. In my testing, it achieved a read score from Sony's official benchmark tool of 6,539 megabytes per second, making it one of the fastest I've ever used. File transfer times were some of the most impressive I've seen in all my time testing SSDs, with particular highlights being with some of the biggest PS5 games. Horizon Forbidden West, with its 99.35 GB file size, jumped from the internal storage to the NVMe SSD in just 1 minute and 19 seconds, or 79 seconds. Equally impressive is Death Stranding, Director's Cut, 69.35 GB, which transferred in only 54 seconds. Number 1 WD Black SN850 SSD. With some strong performance numbers, the WD Black SN850 is an easy choice for anyone looking for a blazing fast SSD for their PC. The other advantage is it can also be used with a PlayStation 5, but you'll need to ensure you pick up the model with a heatsink included. WD certainly is pulling out all the stops with the SN850, both in terms of features and performance. Our 1TB model comes with a 5-year limited warranty and up to 600 TB of writes, which is more than enough to keep this drive chugging along for years to come. The drive itself looks rather straightforward, and unless you're opting for the heatsink version which comes with customizable RGB, of course, there's not much to see here for best performance. The SN850 is meant for a PCIe Gen 4 X4 M.2 slot, but the drive is backwards compatible all the way to PCIe Gen 2x1. Though of course, at those speeds you're seriously losing out on what this drive can do, so we highly recommend using this drive in a compatible slot for the fastest speeds. The drive features WD's own controller paired with SanDisk flash memory, working together for some impressive read/write speeds. WD quotes the SN850 at 7,000 megabytes per second read speed and a write speed of 5,300 megabytes per second for the 1TB unit we have here. When it comes down to performance, the SN850 pushed itself to the limits in our tests. Thank you for watching this video. Do like and subscribe.